Are you actually getting better at singing? Have you taken the time to ask yourself this recently? I find that this is one of the most important questions that we don't ask as people learning how to sing. We think that if we just practice harder, if we practice a bit longer, then surely my voice is going to improve. But what if that's not true? What if you've spent years practicing only to realize you've not only made little to no progress, but you might have gotten even worse? I've personally been there before. So let's make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Or maybe if it has, how do we overcome this? Specifically today, I want to cover number one, why you won't get better even though you're practicing hard. Number two, how do you actually tell if you are getting better? Number three, if you're not getting better, what can you do about it? Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students from all around the world. And really on this channel, my goal is to make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible. So if that is something that is up your lane, consider subscribing wherever you are joining me from. If you want to take your singing a step further and you want to improve even faster with less headache, check out some of the links down in the description below. I've got ways to work with me more privately, and I've also got some self-study programs for you all. Last but not least, if you want to inspire our next episode, let me know down in the comments below. You can also do this on the podcast. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. The first thing I want to talk about, and I introduced this earlier, you can practice consistently, you can practice diligently, but still not make progress. Being in this boat myself, sometimes I felt like I had periods where I'd practiced for years. I was actually consistent, only to not have any results to show for this. Now, what we need to recognize here is that practice does not make perfect. All it does is that it makes it into a habit. And so what this means is the constant repetition of something tends to just make it feel more natural for us. And so if you're practicing on your own, you're doing consistently, but you're practicing wrong, you don't know what you're aiming for, you don't know how to do the exercise correctly, you don't even know what you're looking for, especially with a skill like singing where you really can't see what you're doing, it can be very easy to drill in the wrong habits. For the first 3 to 4 years of my singing journey, I tried to look for this kind of open throat sound because everyone said you need to sing with an open throat. But not only did I not achieve that, I ended up just building this habit of kind of depressing my tongue and kind of gagging and choking myself, which did not help at all with my singing. And so don't fall into this trap. You are smarter than this. Yes, it is very important to work hard. Yes, it is very important to be consistent, but you need to combine this also with the right direction. Let's talk about how do we know if we're actually getting better, right? This is going to be an important part and probably why you are here. Now, some of you might be thinking, I don't know, I'm better when I just listen to myself and I enjoy my singing, when I feel like I sound good. And for sure, that is one way to do it, but it's going to be a bit tricky because of two reasons. The first one, singing takes time to develop. For some of us, it's going to be months, years, if not decades, to actually build a good voice. And so on a day-to-day basis, it's going to be hard to notice a difference. The second reason here is singing is often very personal for us, which means, like it or not, we are not the best judges of our voice because it's so tied up in our identity, it's so tied up with our emotions. It's very hard to be objective about our voice. Sometimes we feel like our singing sucks because we know we're just in that kind of pattern of beating ourselves down, when in fact you're actually doing pretty well. And so this is why you need to document your journey as a prerequisite. Keep recordings, keep voice memos, take down notes on your journal. I can't tell you how many times my students have deleted their recordings because they couldn't stand the sound of their own voice. They cringed at it. Don't do this. Keeping these gems is going to be one of the best ways to tell if you've actually gotten better, because listening to these clips a month, a year, a decade from when you recorded them allows you to get perspective. And so one thing you can do is just listen to a clip from a month ago, a year ago, or maybe even a decade ago, and just try sing a song again and try to compare the two recordings objectively. Now, sometimes in these situations, it can still be very, very hard to be objective because singing is once again so personal to us. Sometimes we're not the best judge of this. And so what can also be really helpful to be more objective about your singing is ask yourself this one question. Does it feel easier to sing this song now? Because chances are, if it has, your technique has gotten better. Ease is one of those great signs of a better singing voice. Okay, so you've gone and you've compared your two audio clips. You've listened back to them, you tried to compare them objectively, and they still sound the same. They still felt hard to sing. You sound exactly the same, if not a tiny bit better after all these years. If you're in this boat, it can really be chalked up to two things. The first one here is you're just not practicing enough. And I want you to be honest here, right? Have you put in the work required to see the results that you want. If you're in this boat, there's really two things you can do. Number one, you either change your work ethic, you become more consistent with your practice, or number two, you change your expectations. The second thing here is you don't have the right strategy. And I find this is where a lot of beginners will tend to slip off. You're practicing, you're going through YouTube, you're doing those warm-ups every single day, or like at least 5 to 6 days a week, but you are heading in the wrong direction, or you're not clear on the direction to begin with. Now, this is where having a teacher can be really, really, really useful. Having someone who knows your voice, knows your strengths, the weaknesses, and having them lay out a step-by-step kind of plan and give you real-time feedback as well, that can compress years of your journey of learning how to sing. But if you don't have that luxury right now, try building a menu for yourself. And this is an idea that came from Kobe Bryant. Basically, you need to take the time to break down singing into a menu of smaller sub-skills that you need to develop. Similar to, in basketball, you need to learn how to dribble, right? You need to learn how to shoot. You need to learn how to make a shot. You need to learn how to defend. This is going to be the same thing when it comes to learning how to sing. Because often we just think of singing as, I just gotta learn how to sing, I gotta learn how to sing, without realizing that there are these smaller sub-skills. So ask yourself, what are these smaller sub-skills when it comes to your own singing? Do you need to learn how to sing on pitch? Do you need to learn how to sing on time? Do you lack the fundamentals? Do you need to build the fundamentals so you can actually sing some of those higher notes? And also, which one of these should you focus on first? And so by creating this menu and prioritizing, this allows you to have clarity on what you need to work on. Instead of just improving this kind of vague skill of singing, you've now got something much more specific to focus on. Anyway, I hope this episode was useful. If it was, make sure to do all the usual social media stuff, a like, comment, subscribe. This would really, really help this channel grow. If you're on the podcast, leaving a 5-star review can also help push us out to the algorithm. If you're not really seeing progress with your voice, realize you don't have to do this on your own. As I said, lessons can really compress years of your singing journey. You can really compress it down and help you save a lot of time. And so if you're interested in that, check out some of the links down in the description. I've got ways to work with him more privately, along with some more structured singing courses that can help you get some clarity. Anyway, my name is Ivan. I'm your voice teacher. I'll see you every single Thursday or Friday, depending on where you're joining me from, because that's when these weekly tutorials are released. Take care.